2020 is the year that most of us are trying to forget even happened, and those in agriculture are no exception. But unfortunately, the pandemic will likely affect farmers and producers for years to come due to how much of a hit they took. It's for that very reason that the University of Georgia wanted to see just how much farmers and producers in the state were affected, both emotionally and financially, and conducted COVID-19 impact surveys to try and find out.
From the time the pandemic started, we wanted to find out what the effects were on agriculture, and so we conducted a survey. The first wave of surveys was in May of 2020, what we call our spring survey, and then another one from December through February, our year-end survey for more of a retrospective. We wanted to talk to farmers in Georgia about the commodities affected and some of the effects on their businesses and their lives from a pandemic.
Between the spring and end-of-year surveys, they ended up getting more than 1,000 responses. And to no one's surprise, it was a terrible year for everyone. But according to the data, those in livestock had an exceptionally bad year due to the volatility the livestock market saw.
We had a very strong response from livestock producers. In Georgia, that primarily means cattlemen and dairy producers. And I think if we think about the way those commodities are produced and marketed, it gives us a pretty good idea of why there was a lot of concern with those groups. The livestock producers are accustomed to taking some cattle to the sale barn periodically, maybe every few weeks or every month. If you're a dairy farmer, your cooperative is picking up your milk production probably on a daily basis, or at least every couple of days. So as we saw this wild price volatility as the pandemic played out, these guys are really seeing that hit their bottom line on almost a daily basis.
That, of course, can be attributed to outlets for their cattle being cut off. Sale barns were closed, restaurants closed, school cafeterias closed, and of course, processing facilities were having to shut down because of the virus.
We also saw supply chain disruptions. We saw plants close down for deep cleaning or because of infected workers or through the need to impose some social distancing on their production lines. So they had to stretch workers out, put barriers in place between workers and that sort of thing. So that created a hole in the supply chain. If you think about that for, say, the typical beef plant, it might have shut down. So there were a lot of cattle on feedlots that were already set to go to slaughter plants that had nowhere to go all of a sudden.
The good news is, though, that things have seemed to have turned around for livestock producers, and according to Shepard, are in a better position going forward if anything like this were to happen again.
I think the slaughter plants have learned how to very quickly adapt to situations like this, so they're much more prepared going forward for anything that may come along. And our demand for beef per capita consumption is still very strong. Export markets are very strong.
Reporting in Clarke County for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.